you've got a great story that you mention in your letter that you just recently wrote about how you were given an opportunity to invest in Harvey Weinstein. What was this, 8 or 9 years ago?
Yes.
What happened?
An investment banker brought them to visit us, Harvey and his brother Robert, Bob. We spent a day and a half speaking with them, and there were some issues that were top of mind when they came originally, talking about accounting and expenses and allocation of personal expenses compared to business expenses. So there were issues that they told me that would never be an issue again, and we were convinced that they were going to be, that Harvey was this fantastic producer, and it would make great movies and great television shows. And so we were interested in investing a small amount, even though it was a private company, because we thought they would become successful. And then I said, well, I have to do some work, and then we'll get back to you. In the next couple of days, we talked to people we knew in the entertainment industry 8 or 9 years ago, and we talked to, I don't know, 10 people, 5 people, 15 people, and uniformly, we had the same story of this, the events that are being written about today. We knew that 8 or 9 years ago, and all the people we spoke to knew that as well. So it's amazing to me that this is 8 or 9 years later, and you're seeing it for the first time in the papers. How did this happen? How was this allowed to happen? Incredible.
What kind of stories did they tell you? Were they specific with any of these issues?
Specific.
Very specific.
Yeah, exactly what people had to do to get jobs.
And what women in particular had to do to get jobs.
Yeah, I don't know. He didn't say anything about men, but he said a lot about, we heard a lot about women. And so it was very disturbing. And you don't want to do business with people you don't care for. And I think people, one of the reasons that we've been relatively successful is that you have a sense for people. And it's genetically programmed. It's like lizards, know when to avoid danger. So, in fact, in my conference speech today, we talk about, an event that some company we missed, and we're using the gecko lizard as, people know. So you have this sixth sense, and you just develop it further, and you happen from the time you're kindergarten, and you just think about people, and you think about who's smart, who's nice, who's kind, who you think works hard, who you trust. And you develop patterns. It's like playing poker. The guys who are the best poker players, it's not luck when someone wins. It's about that guy is smarter and he has better recognition of what other people, how they bet. So behavior. Behavior is evident in when you're talking with people, and it becomes visible. And then when people confirm or make you think that you're wrong, you're not always right, but you're right most of the time.
You mentioned that you've been doing this for a very long time, making judgments on people, going all the way back to when somebody stole your cartoon, my comic books collection.
Yeah,
What
when I went to college. And so when I went to college, when I was a kid, I managed my comic book collection. And then I had this comics up in my attic, and I go to college, and I come home, and they're gone. I said, what happened? My mother said, oh, well, we gave them to Alan next door. I said, you gave away my comics and my baseball cards? You're kidding. And then this person became a very successful writer for a television show, a very well-known...
You're not going to mention names?
No. Very popular television show. I was trying to think about how I could have, but
Can I just give a hint without saying the actual, like Slamizel Slamazel? I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, you can give that hint. That's fine. And that's the guy. And so he calls me up 5 or 6 or 7 years ago and says that he's become successful, and he read a lot about me, and he wanted to know if I could help him out. And I said, Alan, in 1961, you stole my comic books. When you give them back, you can call me again, but I don't want to talk to you now.
Hung up the phone. And by the way, what was Harvey Weinstein's reaction when you told him you were not going to be an investor?
He was incredibly upset, yelling, I spent all this time with you, you wasted my time, how could you do that? I can't remember who hung up on who, but it wasn't a pleasant conversation.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.